Have you ever been to Albania or Montenegro? Well, there's plenty of good food, good drinks, good views. And yes, I mean good views. And there's also a lot of different fun things to do. Oh, and did I mention there were lots of cats? Like, a lot. Anyway, let's start from the beginning. We started off our flight with some fake USB ports that don't really charge. Then before the food came, we had to deal with some uncivilized behavior. And then we got our drinks. And Jethro was greedy and got 2 beers and a coke, while I only got a coke and a beer, while Junlu got a gin and tonic, apple juice and then a beer.
Fucking greedy, bro. Cheers.
And then the food was good, but the turbulence was kinda crazy. And then we tried to sleep, but
my butt just hurts. Yeah.
Same issue. How do you sleep?
Actually, quite well.
Yeah, this guy just sleeps anywhere, I don't know.
anyway, we finally landed in Munich, and we had to wait about 2 hours until our next flight, so we took the train to our next gate. And then I got something to eat while waiting for our flight, and 2 hours later we landed in Tirana airport. And then we got a taxi and the driver was pretty interesting.
Is it like a pie?
Yeah,
Oh.
Do you make it?
yeah. My mother learned it from my grandmother.
Oh.
And after hearing all about Albania's traditional foods, the first thing we ate after check-in was Italy's traditional food.
So good.
And then we went back to the Airbnb and they struggled to open the balcony door. And then Reza flew his drone while we checked out the amazing view from the balcony itself. Below the balcony we saw like a zoo of animals. There were like 3 cats and 2 dogs. And then we took a little walk because it was
Dinner time.
and then we tried traditional Albanian food, which honestly I didn't really like, but the rest of them seemed to appreciate it more than me, so fair enough. And then we start day 2 in Skanderbeg Square.
Good morning. This is the opera. There are like kids there.
They're doing like some TikTok thing.
Let's join them. Let's join them.
It's a face.
This is Jethro.
Hi, Jethro.
Oh, it's a face.
Oh
It's
shit.
quite dope.
And then we checked out this pretty cool mall, as well as the mosque. And then this is how the mosque looks like from Rezia's drone. Then there was this pretty cool restored 18th century bridge. And then we took a walk in the forest with our tapaut kebab. We were trying to find a spot that Jethro said he passed by while running in the morning, but we found this pretty cool other spot by the river. And then we had nothing to do, so we went to get some beers. And there was this pretty cool arcade machine that we only saw while leaving, so we stayed to play a while.
Wait, Jethro is so bad at this.
I think it's a character. Like,
And then we visited the Pyramid of Tirana, which is just basically a bunch of steps. But it was a pretty good view once we actually got to the top. But it was here that we later noticed some protests due to the Trump situation, where his daughter wanted to buy an island in Albania. After that, we just got some dinner. And after dinner, I got to witness this bus blocking off the entire road, likely because it was turning around due to protests. And then now for day 3, we're driving towards Montenegro. The natural views were pretty nice, but on the way there we also managed to see this castle that we would later visit on the last day of our trip. And then a 2-hour drive later, we managed to cross into Montenegro with the help of a fruit seller that told us where to go to get the right documents.
Tractor.
Don't need to warn you.
Oh.
Your wife adores you, and that B-list star who broke your heart is just.
And then finally we stopped for lunch another 40 minutes later at this little restaurant by the road, and we all ordered chicken breast except Junlu, who was eating her leftovers from last night. And if you're getting bored at this point, you've been taking my videos for granted because I was about to drive and this is the end of the normally recorded videos. They then proceeded to record 41 minutes worth of slow-mo footage, so now I have to speed up all my videos 10x and there's no audio. Enjoy the silence.
Surprise, but you're gonna be alright.
realistic. And then just now Rachel was filming in slow motion. So all the videos were in slow motion.
And then after that, they saw this pretty cool island and decided they wanted to visit it, so had to find a road later on to turn into it. But the views were pretty nice though. An hour later, we were back on the road and back on track to make it to our final destination, hopefully on time. And finally we arrived in Kotor, also known as Cat Town. And here we met our first cat, and afterwards we decided to get some ice cream. And then we met more cats. I'll just leave you to enjoy the rest of the cat clips.
Hi!
And after seeing what felt like every cat in Kotor, we decided to stop for dinner at this pasta place, which is again, yes, not local food, but it was good though. And this is day 4. We started our morning pretty slow, we woke up late, we just did whatever we wanted, and then afterwards we headed to the old town of Kotor. So this is actually the view of the guest house that we stayed at along the coast, and then you can actually see like the view of Kotor is just incredibly beautiful. Before we left the guest house, we said bye to the golden retriever, and then we took a cable car that brings us to the top of Kotor's highest viewpoint, and here we were able to see the entirety of Kotor's old town itself, as well as another nearby town that has an airport. And then the top was basically a clearer vantage point for the same view. And then we decided to go on a little walk around the area, and somebody decided they couldn't sit still. And as we kept walking, we just found some really cool unblocked views of the whole area, as well as this amphitheater looking thing, which is pretty cool. And then we paid 12 euros to queue for like an hour for this alpine coaster thing. Also, I apologize in advance for bad camera angles because I was trying to hold on to the cart and the Osmo at the same time. And don't mind the screaming, it's for the vibes. And that right there was me catching my head with one hand because it almost flew off due to the high speed. And by the way, I had one hand on the brake and one hand on the camera, so I let go of the brake to catch my head. Overall, the alpine coaster was pretty fun, and afterwards we headed to this bar that Junlu saw on Reels, and we saw these people painting the landscape as well as some like corporate event. They also had this barbecue, but apparently it was only for the corporate event, so that was late. Then we saw this guy DJing with the sickest view ever. And initially we weren't going to order anything, but we met like a pretty cool server that gave us his recommendations. After that, we just took a pretty long walk, and then we took the cable car down, and by then we were pretty tired. So how best to alleviate that tiredness, we queued for this meat place, which was actually really good.
Where's your meat? Where's your meat?
And then for the rest of the day, we just explored the old town, which we saw many more unique cats that we didn't see the day before.
Sleepy.
And look at this crazy view,
Okay.
as well as this crazy woman.
I'm kicking up the dirt and counting days a minute, but I'm still not sure what I should say. I cling on to what I can, but the memories slip again.
Hey, it's a nice shot though.
I think that we're doing well. What you think? But I don't really know myself from yesterday to today. Never knowing things will change. Yeah. 'Cause I get lonely. Is my skin as soft as it was the day before? Remind me I'm still healthy. Will you love me more than you did the day before?
This is day 5 where we started off with a boat tour.
Kiss me in the moonlight and just tell me I'll be
And our first stop was this island near the town of Perast, and it's called Our Lady of the Rocks. Inside it is pretty much just a church. We didn't really spend too much time there, but it's literally just a church on an island, so... But the view from inside was pretty nice as well. The next stop was more interesting to me because it was the submarine tunnels that Montenegro built to hide their different ships, including the submarines during different periods of war. Since then, people have just added graffiti and stuff, and it's no longer in use, but you can still see some of the entrances somewhat to the cave. Afterwards, we headed towards the open sea, and we managed to see more of the submarine tunnels, as well as a glimpse of Croatia's coastline here. And our final stop was the Blue Caves. So here the opening to the cave is pretty narrow, so boats going in and out have to time it with the waves. And the boat driver basically had to try a few times because we were very close to the rocks and sometimes we had to give way to other boats. And then we finally managed to get into the cave. There were also people swimming in the Blue Cave, which I thought was a bit too close to the boats itself. But you can also tell that the water here in the cave is just really very blue. Afterwards, our boat parked outside in case people wanted to swim, and we didn't bother because the waves were too strong. After that, our boat headed back to Kotor, and we went back to that same meat place, and then we just walked around the old town a bit more, seeing more cats, and then we went for dinner, in which a cat peed on my back. And now we're at day 6, where we're leaving Kotor for Dermitor National Park. We had a pretty long drive ahead of us of about 3 hours, and we stopped at different viewpoints like this, as well as for lunch, where we stopped at this place that had huge portions.
I've been keeping my distance. I've been feeling so high on the way down.
And then I'll get my first experience with a road with many bends, which I would experience again later in TEF.
Out of my mind, I don't even know why. I've been feeling so high on the way down. Said you treated me bad, cause you know I couldn't. You know I couldn't.
And then we took a quick stop at this area that just looked too pretty not to stop at. And then Jinlu decided to go all the way down to that lake. After reaching Dermitor, we went to check in and had coffee with the owner, and he told us all about the hikes in Dermitor. We then grabbed our stuff and headed for a quick hike at Kurvak.
I've been keeping my distance.
And now it's day 7, we start our day early at around 7 AM, and we start off on this hike that we estimated would take around 12 hours. At this point, we were all pretty much enjoying the hike, you know, taking it slow, taking lots of pictures, and just enjoying the view in general. And here while sliding down, I broke one out of 2 hiking posts that my Airbnb host lent me. And after this lake portion, we basically had to climb all the way up there. And it included some parts of climbing a fixed rope and as well as some form of bouldering, but it was still pretty safe overall. And afterwards, this is the top of the mountain itself. You can see there's just so much ice here. And from here, Junlu tried to make it to the very top, but she decided it was too dangerous and came back down eventually. After eating our packed lunches, we made our way down the other side of the mountain, which was more sketchy. There was just so much ice and it was slippery and hard to find the right path.
Yep, just slide down, trust. Okay, yep. Nice.
So we all kind of agreed just to lock in, and I kept my Osmo in my bag for the rest of the hike. So here we had fun sliding down the ice after climbing down the rocks. But then I had a big ass hole in my pants for the rest of the day. After that, we crossed many different biomes of landscapes, but I was too tired to film. And then some trail runner overtook us and led us to the ice cave. And 8 hours after starting the hike, this was the ice cave that we found, which was pretty cool. And then here me and Junlu carefully shuffled down the ice, avoiding the crevices, while Jethro shuffled his ass on the rocks. Fuck! And right after this, I tripped over a rock and broke stick number 2. By this point, we were so tired that when we saw these sheep, we thought it was close to the end, but it took us another 2 hours to reach this lake viewpoint. And then we saw some dogs on the way to the car park, which was still quite a far walk even when we were dead tired. And then we just went to grab dinner and just chill for the rest of the night. And then to start day 8, I went to buy new hiking posts for my Airbnb host, and then we saw this little horse while driving. And then we decided to go to a bouldering area, and we took some pretty cool shots from here. Then yet another chill day, we drove to the capital city and rested in Podgorica. And then for day 9, we started off visiting their version of Niagara Falls.
Good morning, Bo. So we are here for wine, and look where we are. We are in a big ass cave with a waterfall inside. And some rich lady told us that we can't park there.
She looks like a Disney villain.
Yeah.
2, 1, cheers. Oh, that was too loud.
And then we had lunch and crossed the border back into Albania, which took a while. And here began the road towards Tef, which contained a lot of different bends and animals and narrow roads in general.
This crack in my head. We could go to a place that I know takes off the edge. I feel at home around you. Look what you've done to me.
Professional.
Jethro is selfish. Selfish boy. Selfish boy. Don't want to let me use his the camera. Then pass me this shitty Osmo. Pass me a shitty Osmo. It's okay, our vlog.
Hello!
So what are we doing? Where are we? Where is this?
Oslo?
Oh! This looks like Oslo.
Or is it all fast?
Oh, fast.
Oslo, all fast.
Yes. Stupid guy. Always don't want to give me the camera.
Whoa!
Am I recording? Oh, I'm recording.
Guys, this is day 8 of our road trip, and look at the view! Wow!
3, 2, 1, go.
Take the exit off the freeway. Always driving up to 35.
Wow, it's everywhere!
I think it's nice, yeah.
And then finally we made it to the guest house that we'll be staying in for the next few nights, and the view here was just crazy.
Hello.
So spammy.
And then we basically just checked in and ate dinner here. And because the guest house is family run, the staff that checked us in was like a 12-year-old kid. And then to start off day 10, the golden retriever greeted me outside the restaurant. And we had a hotel breakfast to fuel ourselves before our hike.
Hold it in. One by one they follow him down the hallway through the double doors. Gone is the boy who was lost in the light. Now he's afraid of the shadow. Used to be good, but now he's just not sure. If I could, I would be somebody else. But I can't, so I guess I'm stuck in this body, sipping Bacardi alone. Oh, last time was a joke, 'cause I'm the type for still I'm stuck in this body, living with all of these ghosts. And I guess that's what I asked for. I guess that's what I asked for. Steal the moment from her lips, pull her in and pull her closer. Maybe this time you'll find some confidence.
You scared me.
He was alone and she was the reason. He didn't have to be for the evening, trying to make love but it don't make sense. If I could, I would be somebody else, but I can't.
Singing a song.
Stuck in this body, sipping Bacardi alone. Last time was a joke.
TLDR, we just ran down the mountain and went back to the guest house for dinner. And then we started off day 11 with the 3 of them doing the same line.
Guess that's what I asked for. I guess that's what I asked for.
And then we drove over and started a hike towards a place called the Blue Eye, and then we took a dip on the walk there. The hike there was rockier and longer than I expected. And then we got to this area where everyone was just sitting around and diving into the water.
Woo!
Then we found out this wasn't even the Blue Eye that we wanted to go to. The water was so cold, but I think that's what made the jump really fun. And after my jump, I managed to convince Jethro and Trinlu
What's
to
your
do it.
name?
I'm Trinlu. I don't know what I'm doing.
And as we were eating lunch, these dogs seemed interested in having some of our lunch too, so we gave them some.
Help my size. You can smell it, you can smell it.
And then we saw this girl who couldn't decide if she wanted to jump in, and this guy talking to her.
This is too dangerous. No, but it's good. You saw me do it, right? I was pretty cool. I don't think I can do it. I think you can.
You don't give a fuck, bro.
After that, we made our way back to the car, and Jethro and Trinlu had another place they wanted to go to, so me and Raitia took a drive instead. After that, we picked them up and headed back to the guest house where we had dinner as usual. On day 12, we drove back towards Tirana and stopped at Rozafa Castle, which is the castle that we saw on day 3. So this bridge that I circled was where I took the video from. The castle was pretty big and expensive, and it was quite cool to see the architecture still preserved, but there was nothing much to do there other than just walk around. While me and Jethro explored the place, Raitia and Trinlu just sat outside and Raitia flew his drone. over the castle.
Baby, I break apart. I get sentimental 'cause I care a lot. It hurts just a little when I found out you don't feel.
And this was the last day that we were all four together, and therefore the rest of the day was pretty messy, dropping each other off at the different accommodations. To close out our trip, we took a few commemorative photos before separating. I dropped Reitia at his Airbnb before making my own way to the airport, in which I returned the rental car. I then made my way to my own hotel room, and I had the whole room to myself. And that is the end of our Balkans trip, and now we have a bonus Germany segment. This is me walking around the park nearby my hotel because I had nothing better to do. And then meeting my enemy for the next few days, Deutschbahn. And here we're in Heidelberg, and I really like the architecture here, the shops, the look of it in general, and it just feels much better than the typical city. And one example is this university student prison that they have, where they used to imprison rowdy students, and I thought it was really cool. And then as I walked around, I realized like it was so hot and I really wanted a lemonade, and then I found a place that has really good lemonade hidden in a corner. And then I took this train thing up to the Heidelberg Castle, and from Heidelberg Castle the view is really nice. And then I just walked around the exterior of the castle before going inside, and inside there were a lot of things to see, including this pharmacy museum, as well as this big ass barrel that I don't know what is it for. And then there's also this tower that got blown up and they didn't do anything with it. Then after I had to wait for my train, so I went to hunt for Haribos. Then I found this huge aisle of Haribos, and right opposite it I found my favourite Norwegian chocolate smash. Then my train got delayed so I could take an earlier train. Thank you, Deutschbahn. And then the next day I went to Cologne, and on the bridge itself you could see many locks, as well as you're walking right next to the trains itself, which I thought was really cool. And then this is the famous Cologne Cathedral, and it was really big. I walked one whole big round to find the entrance, and I was just amazed by the sheer size of it. And then after that, when I walked around, I found this sweet shop that had like every candy you could think of, as well as like a slush area, and I thought it was cool. And then as I walked around, I didn't know what to do, so I went on Google Maps, and on Google Maps I found this place that supposedly had the cheapest beer, so I decided to day drink 2 half pints of beer. And then I walked around and found this currywurst shop, and it was good, man. Then after that I took a look inside the cathedral itself, and it was quite cool. They had this underground chamber, and I also saw people doing restoration works, which was quite cool to see in action. And then there was this golden coffin, and all the stained glass was really interesting to me. And then I went to see this city museum, which I thought was quite interesting for a while, but I almost fell asleep because there was just too much information everywhere. But the exhibits were really nice though. And then I went to this other museum, which was actually the building where the Gestapo, which is the secret police, were based previously in Cologne. And these were the prison cells that they were incarcerated in, as well as this dark cell, which was just a really narrow and dark space. The next day I explored Frankfurt itself, and I found this apple wine gallery, and I had a good chat with the guy Martin who opened it. Then I walked around the Frankfurt Old Town, which was actually reconstructed and not original buildings because they were destroyed in the war. And then the History Museum actually had old structures in the building itself, including these drain pipes. And then this is a replica of a crown that German kings used to wear. Lastly, I checked out this clock tower that they previously used as a vantage point to see ships coming in and out of the harbour. And with that, that's the official end of my vlog. Thank you for watching.